Welcome, and thank you for joining this session of Innovation Institute 2021. With nearly 50 sessions available through the summer, we know you'll be discovering new skills, strategies, and resources to transform the teaching and learning in your classroom, and we would love to hear from you. If you haven't already done so, please be sure to visit the Town Hall in Attendify to connect with the attendees through the activity stream or community features. If you would like a certificate of attendance for attending this session, you will find the request form linked at the end of the session description in Attendify. Thank you, and enjoy this session from one of our amazing Innovation Institute presenters.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my presentation on Google's Applied Digital Skills Curriculum. My name is Paula Frank, and at the time of this recording, it is a Saturday morning, so depending on when you guys are watching it, feel free to go grab a beverage. My choice this morning is my cup of coffee, and sit back and watch this 30-minute presentation on applied digital skills. A little bit about myself. I am finishing my 16th year at Christ the King Catholic School in Little Rock, Arkansas. I am the technology teacher for grades K through 8th grade, do 29 classes each week. This year it's been 29 classes. Next year, I'll go back to 28 classes because our 3rd grade class will go back to 3 classes for the grade. This year has been quite successful considering that we have been doing blended learning where we have allowed families that chose to keep their children at home. We have allowed that, and our teachers have really stepped up and taught the lessons for those at home along with our students that did attend school. And I'm proud to say that we did not have any days of shutdown this whole year. So with that being said, if it wasn't for Google's Applied Digital Skills, I personally don't know how I would have survived, because without, besides being a teacher at Christ the King School, I am also the Chromebook and iPad support person, database support person, you name it. I'm the IT person too on our campus. So sit back and I'll get started on actually presenting what is Google's Applied Digital Skills Curriculum for those of you that have never heard of it. And for those of you like myself that have been using it, hopefully you'll see how Google is completely changing it and updating it since 2017. Okay, so the link for the Applied Digital Skills Curriculum is this link right here. And if you want to link to my slides, feel free to pause the video right now and you can record this. This is a capital ADS and 2021 PREZ. This is a digital literacy curriculum, and it is completely driven by professional video lessons, and the students learn at their own pace, which helps me because then it allows me to help the students that need help and let the students who are advanced in my classroom work at their own pace and go faster. So in today's talk, we'll be going over 4 different areas of applied digital skills. Of course, the welcome, which is what we're in now, why and what is applied digital skills, a little bit looking inside the curriculum and how easy it is to use. And then finally, I'll leave you some slides on how you can get started at your school. Okay, so the why are we here? We know as educators that, especially now, since we're under a pandemic, or we have been under a pandemic, students have to have digital literacy skills to be successful in just about any career in any field out there. They have to know how to use the computer. They have to know how to apply apps to be able to get things into their bosses, get things into their teachers. And then this is showing you a little bit about the job market and how it's constantly changing and what the employers are looking for and the skills that students don't feel that they're confident in. Okay, so what is Applied Digital Skills? It is a curriculum designed to equip students with the practical skills that will help them succeed at school, in the workplace, and in life, while promoting student engagement in the classroom, whether it's face-to-face, hybrid, remote, or a mixture of all of the above. I came to Christ the King School back in 2005 from a background as a corporate trainer in a financial institution. And I always have taught my business classes, my technology classes, of explaining the why to the students, why they need to be doing this because of how they're going to be applying it into a job one day. So when Applied Digital Skills came around, it just helped me further explain or further back me up in explaining the why to the students. It's completely free. It's video based. It's online, of course. It prepares students of all ages for a growing number of jobs that require basic digital skills. They have to have a little bit of a prior knowledge of the actual Google apps. And so what I do at my school is I teach Google Docs in fourth grade. I teach Google Slides and Google Drawings in second and third grade. And so there's the basics. And then by the time they get to me in fifth grade, that's when I start introducing the Applied Digital Skills curriculum. So I teach the foundations of the app itself in the lower level grades. And then these lessons is when I start applying it. Okay, looking here for remote learning opportunities, you can still do small groups even while you're at home because you have the ability to get into other programs and be able to talk with each other. With the video curriculum, it's able to play at a lower bandwidth versus and a higher bandwidth. So it's able to play on mobile devices, desktops, laptops. There's over 120 hours of lessons, and this slide here will also show you just all the apps that you could cover with the lessons. Here are the digital skills that students would learn. And this isn't just for the technology teacher, the library media specialist. You have art teachers that are using it. You have history teachers that are using it. English teacher science, the new science one, I just wrapped up with my sixth graders where we were using, I'll show it to you right here. We used the time-lapse engine that Google has, and we were investigating how the Columbia Glacier has changed since 1984 all the way to present. And then this one here is my fifth graders did the pop art lesson, which is using Google Drawings. Since I assigned it on May the 4th, I told them go out and get a Star Wars picture and convert the Star Wars picture into pop art. So the lesson actually showed them how to use Google Drawings as far as doing the polyline tool and being able to then create the pop art. And then this crossed over into the art class because the art teacher had in a previous lesson taught them about Andy Warhol. My seventh graders are currently finishing up the year doing conditional formatting, and they're creating a battleship game. And so as they're going to play the last day of class, which is this Thursday, they're going to play the battleship game with each other in class and calling out the cell reference numbers. And then they'll sink each other's ships just as if it was a real battleship game. So that's just examples of how I'm wrapping up with the Applied Digital Skills this year. It does teach the practical life skills, the 4 C's: organization, budgeting, event planning, you name it. Okay, it is completely aligned with ISTE standards. So for those of us like myself that are the technology teacher, I know that I can grab any of these lessons and then I can put into my plan book exactly how I'm covering it for the ISTE standards. It does align also with state standards. It is continually being designed by teachers for teachers. I recently submitted a request that Google go out and create an applied digital skills lesson utilizing Google Keep, because I teach Google Keep. It has the sidebar. I feel like they could really develop that, especially with their Explore Topics lessons. And then, of course, the 4 C's: communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. This one here, collaboration, really was beneficial this year, especially with my stay-at-home kids. They were able to still collaborate with each other in doing their lessons with the joint projects. And then, of course, my in-person kids had the ability to collaborate in person, just like a normal year would have been. Okay, so let's look at inside the curriculum. As of May 2021, they, meaning Google, have uploaded 156 lessons. It has been around since 2017. I had the privilege in late 2016, early 2017, before it launched completely across the world, to pilot one of the lessons, and my students and I did the If Then Adventure, and we were able then to give feedback to Google about how the lesson works. So when you get signed in to Apply Digital Skills, I love how they've changed it up recently, that as you go into Apply Digital Skills, you're able then to browse lessons based on all different ways. This here, the collections, that is a multiple lessons all together to where you do a unit, and it tells you down here then how many lessons are part of this whole collection. And at any time of the year, this changes. So this right here, as I'm recording, they've now put Juneteenth out here, and then they've given us 3 lessons to look at. So those of you that may be going into parts of June for your teaching, you can look here and see what lessons they've given you. So they said create a flyer, or they could do explore a topic. And yes, this says Black History Month, but of course you can change it up and say bring in anything for related to Juneteenth. Lyrics for a song and are the 3 lessons. Back to school in August, this will change up and it'll give us back to school lessons, which is kind of like learning how to use Gmail, learning how to clean up your Google Drive, how to organize your Google Drive. The science one is a brand new collection, which I just did the Glacier project in it, the time-lapse camera. Okay, so besides looking at it based on collections, you also can denote how or who your audience is. So I start this in 5th grade, and I go ahead and consider 5th grade middle school, even though it's late elementary, because both the lessons will be, or the lessons in late elementary are the same as in middle school. So I go into middle school, then I go into what is the tool that I want the students to be developing. So in 5th grade, I teach Google Docs in 4th grade, but I want them now to start applying using Google Docs more. So I click the Google Docs as far as the tool that I want to use. And then these are the lessons, 35 out of 156 lessons that I can choose from and be able then to use with my 5th graders, my 6th graders, 7th graders, 8th graders. When I'm doing digital literacy, we cover this topic right here, evaluate credibility of online sources. And I introduce it in 5th grade, and then I reinforce it in 7th and 8th grade. One of the very first lessons that 5th graders do for me is, of course, the If Then Adventure story, which is part Google Docs and part Google Slides. Okay, so for those of you that are new, don't panic, because Google gives you everything that you need to be able to do this lesson. So the lessons come with a lesson plan. If you are a weekly teacher like myself, you can know how many hours that you'll need to cover. If you are a content teacher, then you can see the hours and know how many class periods for a given week that you'll be able to do with this. The rubrics on the lessons are cool, because you can then incorporate them into your Google Classroom. and be able then to check mark off how the students actually are completing the lesson. These are viewable only because Google does update them, and I just keep them in view only mode, but you're more than welcome to do file, make a copy, and edit them to the way you need them for your particular class. Okay, here is that if-then adventure story. So you need to go ahead and explain how to use Google Slides, because what the lesson will do on this if-then adventure story is it's going to take Google Slides to that next level and teach the students how to do hyperlinks within the actual Google Slides. And based on how they're clicking is then how the story then develops. I love using this lesson around Halloween, because then I have the students do a Halloween story if it's going to be scary or if it's going to be fun. And if they build it correctly, then what I do is then the 3rd and 4th graders play the story on Halloween or around Halloween, and they get to actually go on the adventure. So my older kids are building it, and then my younger kids are actually carrying it out. And then over here on the left, you can see just all the skills that you are learning, or all the skills that the students are learning by doing just this one lesson. Okay, here's another way to explore lessons. So these are just some examples of what you do in upper elementary, middle school, and high school. This is over here all the way to adult learners. So those of you that are watching this that may be the business applications teacher in a high school, there is your career unit that you do, and they've got all kinds of lessons to get the students writing a resume, how to get back into the job market, how to even enter the job market. That's also good for adult learners. Okay, here are the top lessons, or the top 10 lessons that teachers use. And this is based on surveys and feedback, how we've been using them. And one thing I want to tell you about some of these lessons, you'll see a bunch of different activities within the lesson, and you don't necessarily have to do all of the activities in that lesson to be able to carry it out. So there is this one about an event, and what I do in 5th and 6th grade is they create the flyer and the logo for the event. Then I come back to that same lesson in 7th grade and delve into it more deeply, where since I'm teaching how to use Google Sheets, then we go into that event lesson and create a budget for that event. And so these lessons can carry over year to year to year. Back up, one more thing I want to say about this. There are coding lessons within Applied Digital Skills, and this isn't Blockly coding. This is the apt script coding that is in Google Docs and Google Sheets. And so it is using, off the top of my head, JavaScript, I think. Don't quote me on that. But I do this coding in the hour of code for my 7th and 8th graders. So they're exposed to how they can take Google Docs on into high school. And if they don't like, if they can't find an add-on, it teaches them how to create their own add-ons. Okay, when we went into lockdown, quarantine, whatever you want to call it, back in March of 2020, Google immediately produced this document. When you grab the Google Slides, you'll be able to click on this document and it'll take you out. And it tells, and those of you that may still be learning remotely going into 2021-2022 school year, it will show you how you're able to then take these lessons and be able to learn completely remote. Okay, so I paused the video real quickly because I needed to sign out of Google Applied Digital Skills to where now I'm going to show you just how easy it is to get started as a teacher using this curriculum. Okay, so you go to g.co/applied digital skills. You can click on this. You can simply do a Google search. It will take you to the Applied Digital Skills website. This is what it looks like. The next step that you will do is you will click the sign in button. And if it is your first time to use it, what it will ask you is, are you a teacher or are you a student? And even if you are a teacher, you still have the ability to take these lessons as a student, and I'll show you that. So let me go back over to the live website and sign in. And then the one big thing that you'll always make sure with your students is once you get signed into the website, up here in this area, let me move my picture out of the way a little bit. Up here in this area, it tells you what your role is. So right now I am the teacher, and if these are my classes, so I even shoot Applied Digital Skills out to my parents, my adult learners, and give them lessons throughout the year for them to take if they want. This is a classroom that I have set up for this summer for any teacher that wants to take advantage of some updated tips and tools for Gmail, Drive, Doc, Sheets, Slides, Calendar. Feel free to join this class as a student. And then, of course, here you'll notice this hopefully is looking like Google Classroom to you. I am in dark mode just because I switched to dark mode around Star Wars time. So it's not very colorful. If you're in light mode, then it allows you to make colors for these classes. And so going down this dashboard, you can see that I've got current lessons out here. These are all my classes. And then when I go into a class, what you will see then is, once it loads, you'll see the current classes at the top, and now we have the ability to archive or do finished and move the lessons that we've done. So here are my finished lessons that are falling off of the student's dashboard so they don't get confused where to go, and then all the things I've done. Now, this part right here, projects submitted, for those of you that aren't using Google Classroom, the students have the ability to submit their projects straight into Applied Digital Skills. So then you will be able to click here and see the lessons or see their projects being submitted. I am a user of Google Classroom, so this is completely empty for my on my side. So taking a look at the lesson for like this one. So as I was saying, all materials are given to you, the teacher. So you can pull up the lesson plan here. You can pull up the sample rubric. If you feel like you've got some students that don't have the bandwidth at their house, you can download videos for them to be able to watch offline. And then certificates of completion to give that little hoorah. So basically with mine, it's a grade instead of a certificate of completion. Okay, the activities in this particular lesson, then this gives you an idea of what, here again, how long it's going to take them to complete it on average. What are the 2 tools that they're going to be using, or how many tools they're going to be using, what skills they will be learning when they do this lesson. And then these are the videos that they watch. The activity reflection can be simply a survey back to Google, or on the newer lessons, this is a quiz. So then they can take a quiz to make sure that they're watching the videos. And then finally, this puzzle piece are extensions. This is what you can do for your quick learners or quick finishers. You can assign certain extensions for them to do. Or in my case, I tell them, pick 3. Pick 3 extensions that you want to do and dress it out. So that's looking at Applied Digital Skills as a teacher. The way I do this every single year is I'll archive, just like in my Google Classroom. I will end up archiving these right there, and they disappear. Then come fall, I will say create a class after I have built my classes in Google Classroom, and I'll then be able to import my classes in over from Google Classroom. For those of you not using Google Classroom, you would create the class and then you would feed this code that's generated to your students to be able to use it. Now, looking at it as a student, you simply click over here to where it says you're a teacher, go under Profile, and then what you will do here is you'll say switch to student. Yes, change your role. And then what you're able to then do is it tells you then, and this will also tell the students what was the last thing they viewed in case they've got more than one teacher that has assigned an applied digital skills unit to them or a lesson to them. It'll tell them what was the last thing they did. It also tells them then what classes they currently belong to. They also have the option of simply just browsing lessons as a student and going out there and finding something. So they have the option that, hey, I remember doing this back in 5th grade. It was this, and they can go out and search and be able to pull up then the videos from the lesson that they did in a previous year. Okay, so back to my presentation. So we did the teacher. We are generating a class code. You can then send it to Google Classroom. In my case, I import the roster from Google Classroom after. So basically, once I get my roster populated of my classes, then I import it into Applied Digital Skills and get my Applied Digital Skills classes set up. Then just start using the curriculum. And I start with the easy ones, the back to school lessons, and then I start getting into the units. Continually add lessons. Finish when you're finished, mark that they're finished. Students start learning by joining with their code or simply clicking on the, when I add a lesson to Google Classroom, I click add to Google Classroom, create an assignment, and they're able then to sign in. Now, one thing to always remind your students is once they sign in to Applied Digital Skills, it takes them to their dashboard. They'll need to scroll down and click on then your lesson again, or simply go back to Google Classroom, click on the link again, and then it takes them into the video, because I do give them credit for watching the videos and how long they're staying in the videos. Okay, anytime you need help, always go to support.google.com and you can then type in Applied Digital Skills and find the most recent information on it. And then finally, I want to thank everybody for joining me today. And this is where you can reach me if you should have any questions about Applied Digital Skills, since I have been using this since 2016 and continue to use it year after year. If you're interested in doing the summer PD class, the code is Y6KJHW. And since I am a Google trainer, all you have to do is pop me an email or submit your work to the lesson, pop me an email that you're done, and then I'll send you a certificate so you can get some PD hours for over the summer in case you need them. I personally am going to also be taking those classes just to see the new updates that have been happening in our core units of docs and slides and sheets, and that way I'll be ready for the 2021 school year. So guys, hey, thanks for joining me on this adventure of a walk through Applied Digital Skills, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you for joining this session. To request a certificate of attendance, you can access the link at the bottom of the session description, scan the QR code here, or go to bit.ly/I2 certificate. Bit.ly shorteners are case sensitive, so please be sure to use all uppercase letters. Hear what insight other I2 attendees and presenters might have on this session and other breakout sessions by connecting with the Innovation Institute community on Facebook or Twitter at I2 Estale or in Attendify's interactive features. And don't forget to mark your calendar for June 8th and 9th to join us for I2 2022. Thank you.